So, Mr. President, the Swedish media have launched a strong campaign to free the journalist Dawit Isak. What is your reaction on that campaign?
Negative campaign against Eritrea?
It's a campaign to free the journalist Dawit Isak.
It's very funny because I don't even know. I was asked in Brussels about this by one journalist, by someone who said, first and foremost, he's an Eritrean citizen. And he may have dual citizenship, but he is eligible for accountability in Eritrea because he is an Eritrean citizen. We don't consider him to be a Swedish citizen. I don't say the Swedish government, but individuals who have been using this guy for many things very ugly to talk about. I don't want to talk about that kind of story, but they have made a big story out of one individual who was abused and compromised by individuals in Sweden and asked to serve interests of a number of intelligence agencies in Europe and the United States, and got involved in a messy thing, and he was held accountable. That's the end of the story. If you go and see this campaign, it's a campaign that is very self-explanatory in terms of those individuals and their linkage with intelligence institutions in Washington, how they behave within the government, how they link these things and try to make something out of this trivial issue. I think it's part of the extensive campaign through websites, through the media, diplomacy. I was just to give you a joke, it's a real joke. And we have many friends in the Middle East, particularly in Qatar. And the foreign minister of Sweden contacted the foreign ministry of Qatar. This assumption that Qatar and Eritrea have special relationship. And our ambassador was asked to ask about a Swedish, not an Austrian citizen. And he asked, is there an Austrian citizen detained in Eritrea, Austria? I said, well, can an Austrian come to Eritrea and be detained here? There must be a misunderstanding. They went there and came back again. It's the foreign ministry of Sweden asking the foreign ministry of Qatar to ask the Eritrean government a favor of talking about a Swedish journalist. The campaign has gone to this extent. We told them, look, this guy is an Eritrean citizen, and the Swedish government has no right to ask about the work. And the authorities there were surprised. They didn't even know that this guy was an Eritrean. Why would individuals within the Swedish government go beyond limits to make a very big issue about this matter? Unfortunately, this young man was a victim of abuse, a victim of compromise by individuals in Sweden. They don't even represent the government of Sweden, but they wanted to use this institution and be part of the campaign waged by the CIA, using the website, the information technology available, and I say this is very cheap, and it does not even deserve any consideration on any part. The Swedish population should not be misled by these acts of individuals within the Swedish government. We're not even interested, we don't care on what these people say, and I think we need to look into the positive aspects of the relationship between the Swedish people and the Eritrean people. These attempts of spoiling relationship or poisoning the relationship is part of a broader campaign. It's not a Swedish campaign. A Swedish campaign is a very small part of a bigger campaign waged by the CIA in Washington.
Campaign against Eritrea.
It's all sorts of campaign against Eritrea.
Yeah, and why is that?
Because we don't accept the policies of the United States all along, be it the border issue, a number of other interventions in the region. All along, this relationship has been going very sour because we are not an agent of the United States. We are not here to serve the interests of special interest groups in the United. We can't be puppets in the hands of the special interest groups in Washington. And the history may be very long, but it's a very simple thing. We don't like U.S. intervention and policies in our region and outside our region. And that's what the American people are saying. We don't want your policies. You have to come and change everything, and that's why Obama is in office now in Washington.
So, nevertheless, today is of public interest about Dawit Isak's whereabouts. What crime is he accused of committing?
I don't know. I don't even care about where he is and what he's doing. He did a big mistake. He's accountable for what he did, and I don't waste time about knowing where he is and what he's doing.
Is there anything you can tell us about the mistake he did?
Not at all. Not at all. I would like to bring those people who compromised him and abused him for their own purpose, and when they come, then definitely that will be telling the whole story about who he is and what he did.
Do you think you will take him to trial or release him?
No, we don't release him, we don't take to trial. We know how to deal with him and others like him, and we have our own ways of dealing with that because it's to the interest of this country, and we know what we do. We don't go and negotiate with the Swedish government or those who used him for their own private ends and tell them, oh no, this is what we're going to do, we're going to try him, we're going to... Not at all, never.
Mr. Last, September 2001, you closed down the private independent media and imprisoned some official and journalists. What was the reason for these actions at that time?
There were no private media. There is no private media these days.
At that time, I mean.
Even now, and at that time, and even before that, I mean, the CIA would finance newspapers, hire journalists, open bank accounts for them outside the country, and give them what they have to write in their papers. This is not media. This is a reality of our global situation now. Special interest groups have an interest in controlling the media. That's how they can promote their own interests. Big media outlets in the world are controlled by special interest groups. The facts are there for everyone to see. How do they manipulate these institutions? Oh, you need to have freedom of press and freedom of speech. Okay, no problem. Freedom of speech for my own people is another thing. But for some agency financed by an intelligence agency from outside, it's journalists, so-called journalists, quote-unquote, compromised by bribes or both because of financial temptations here and there. This is not independent media. This is, if you can call it, slavery in media. A journalist is supposed to be an independent man, very unique out of so many people who have the integrity of telling truth about facts, and even when he makes analysis, he relies on objective assessment of situation. If a journalist is paid by any outside authority, if you have special accounts, if he's part of a system that works from outside, he's not even a journalist. Today you can go everywhere in so many countries who don't even have the basics and the rudimentary requirements for democracy, can talk about freedom of press. Freedom of press controlled by special interest groups in Europe.